What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today I watched a video by Ken Beans talking about his experience after 1 month of using the GMK joystick. That got me thinking, and I realized that it's been 1 year since I bought my joystick, and I decided to make a similar video except with 1 year of experience. Now in this video, I'm going to include what the joystick does, what the pros and cons of the joystick are, why I bought the joystick, what I've learned after 1 year, tips and tricks you can use to get better at using the joystick if you decide to switch, my keybinds at the end, so stick around for that, and if it was worth buying or not. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. First off, for those of you that don't know, the GMK joystick is a peripheral that you can connect to your computer and use to move instead of WASD on your keyboard, while still using your keyboard for keybinds and your mouse to aim, as you can see me doing in this clip here. This way you can keep all of the benefits of using mouse and keyboard over a controller while getting that 360-degree movement that controller players have. However, this does mean that you're going to have to change your finger placement from WASD to buttons that are closer to the bottom of your keyboard. I personally switched up the way I rest my fingers entirely. Now I rest them in a straight line on ASDF. This is something that you need to be aware of if you switch to the GMK joystick. Now let's get into the pros of switching to the GMK joystick. The first one off the bat is that you have 360 movement. This is similar to double movement, but a little bit better because you can move your joystick in any direction that you want. This movement means that you can mimic what controller players do in boxes where they just run around in circles, making it harder for enemies to hit you. The next pro that the GMK joystick gives you is having the most optimal keybinds possible. This is because now that your fingers aren't resting on WASD and you don't have to use them to move, you can now rest them on keybinds that you use very often in Fortnite. For example, your building, editing, and weapon keybinds. This means that now you can move in any direction while you're building or editing, making you even harder to hit and more efficient. Now, while all of those pros are really great reasons to switch to the GMK joystick, there are also some cons. The first of which is how difficult it is to adjust and actually get better once you switch. What do I mean by this, you may ask? Basically, what I'm saying is when you first switch to the GMK joystick, it's gonna be like switching from controller to mouse and keyboard for people who know how that is. The first couple of weeks to a month, you're going to be really bad, and it's going to be really frustrating to lose fights that you know you would have won on your old setup. Because of this, you will be tempted to switch back to mouse and keyboard because you know that you were better at it, even though you know that eventually the GMK joystick is going to make you a better player. The second con is that now there are programs that allow you to have double movement that's very similar to the GMK joystick, so mastering is not as good as a payoff as it was 1 year ago when I got it. Like I just mentioned, the main reason I bought the GMK joystick back when I did was to have the best double movement available. However, now there are programs that allow you to do this, so is it even worth still buying the joystick? Let me know down in the comments below. Now, after playing on the joystick for 1 year, what did I learn? First, the double movement doesn't always work properly, especially if you're moving to the left and looking to the right. Sometimes you'll just stutter and not really run as you should. Second, while the GMK joystick is great for double movement and having the best optimal binds, it's not gonna make you a Fortnite pro overnight. You still need to practice them and get really good mechanically like all the other pros are. However, this does give you a really good edge because you can have completely optimal keybinds where you can move in any direction and build, edit, or pull out your weapons as you like. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get to the real good stuff, the tips and tricks to help you perform better faster with the GMK joystick. First one may seem obvious, but it's really important. For the first couple of weeks, try to stay away from regular game modes as much as possible and just practice in creative. I'm telling you guys to stay away from regular game modes because this is going to be where you're most frustrated at losing games because you're not up to par with your old skills. However, in creative, you can verse your friends or just play Phil in Zone Wars, and if you die, you won't get that frustrated because there wasn't really anything on the line. This way, you can avoid the temptation to switch back to mouse and keyboard. My second tip is to smash that like and subscribe button for more content on the GMK joystick, and if you guys have any questions, you can just comment them down below one of my videos, and I'll try to respond to as many as I can. The next tip is to try and explore as many different keybind combinations as you can at the beginning. That way, you can avoid learning new muscle memory that you're just gonna have to replace later on if you switch your keybinds. I recommend you start using someone else's keybinds as a guide and then build off of that. My last tip is to always leave your joystick on your desk. That way you're always reminded that you're going to use the joystick today and not just your regular keyboard. Because if you put it away, it can be easy to just one day switch back to keyboard and then never go back to the joystick. Now onto some tricks that I learned from solving problems that arose when I first tried to play with the GMK joystick. The first one was that when I put it under my keyboard, for some reason the joystick kept sliding from under my keyboard as I was trying to build or do something fast. So what I did to fix this is I stacked a couple of cards on top of the platform that you use to put under your keyboard. That way it had extra traction and more weight directly on the joystick and it doesn't move. For this you can use any kind of cards, playing cards. I use some old ID cards, so it's really up to you. The next trick that I learned is sometimes when I turned my PC on, it wouldn't boot to Windows and it would just stay on a screen with a white blinking dash. Eventually I was able to figure out that it was because my GMK joystick was connected to it, and all I had to do was unplug it and restart my PC and it would perfectly boot to Windows. This is not a hack or malware or anything, it's just something that happens sometimes. So what I do is I always unplug it after I'm done and then I plug it in when I'm about to play. That way I can just avoid unnecessary hassle. Another trick that I actually picked up from Ken Bean's video is putting a control freak on the analog. That way it has better traction, because the analog stick that comes with it is pretty slippery and eventually over time it will get worn down. So using a control freak is a good solution to that. Now these are the settings that I use to play on the GMK joystick. Like I said before, I lay my fingers straight across in a line from A, S, D to F. This way I use the buttons on top and on bottom for all my actions, building, editing, etc. So if you want a point to start off your journey, you can copy these keybinds or copy Martas's or Ken Bean's. Anybody's will help, really, whichever one you think fits best for you. So after 1 year of playing with the GMK joystick and reaping the benefits, do I think it was worth buying? In my opinion, I think it was worth buying. It's not perfect and it's not going to make you a pro overnight, but it definitely did make me better and it offered me another challenge to improve at Fortnite. However, for you, this may not be the right choice. So using this video and other videos on YouTube, you should make your decision. If this video was helpful at all to you guys, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for more. Comment down below what your favorite part was, any questions that you may have, if you want to see more videos like this. And as always, I'm out. Peace.